here we are. Inevitable happened. March 18th. Cancellation of the Keys 100. Let's get into what my plan's going to be moving forward. What's happening, everybody? What was supposed to be week 11, here we are talking a little bit about the training, and now with the cancellation of the Keys 100, what my plan is going to be moving forward. Just like everybody else, their spring races have been either postponed or canceled, but the Keys 100 got canceled. Why? It's a special race for May, and Bob said this is the time to do it, and so he is canceling the Keys 100. He was super awesome and gracious in the ability to defer our entry to 2021 or to give a partial refund, because as we know, there's a lot of expenses that are put out. So am I disappointed? Yeah, sure, I'm disappointed, but at the same time, that is one of the things that happens, and I am not going to be upset about all of this that happened. And so what I'm trying to do is, Team Wahoo is saying, is how do we make lemonade out of these lemons we've been handed? So knowing that I am in some awesome fitness and knowing how things are at, I'm going to get into what my plan is later in April, beginning of May, whenever I feel like it's time to get out there and do it. But as we do, let's jump right into this week's training. So was supposed to be an 80-something mile week, but because I got some unfortunate news on March 18th that my race is canceled, my motivation kind of dipped a little bit. So we had 6 runs over 7 days, 77.5 miles, 9 hours, 34 minutes, and 58 seconds for an average of 7:25, I'm sorry, per mile on these runs. Nothing crazy. Had 2 tempos, one on Friday and one on Wednesday this week. Just to get out there and get those legs turning over, as I kind of saw it coming that this race was going to get canceled, but we are moving forward and moving on. So what am I going to do? I'm here. I'm in probably the best ultra fitness that I've ever been in, and I feel as though I am not wanting this to go to waste. So I kind of went over some of the things that I've always wanted to do, whether they be races in summer, different aspects, and one of the things that came to mind is I've always wanted to do the Grand Canyon rim to rim to rim run, but I've never found time to do it. And so I figure, why not take the fitness I am in now and be able to parlay that into my ability to train and do that rate or do that run, even though it's not a race. Now, I am in by no means trail shape. I've been doing everything on the road. I've been doing very minimal types of lifting and exercises. So I'm going from a race that was 100 miles and almost 200 feet of elevation, and transitioning to looking at doing something that is 48-ish miles and almost 11,000 feet of climbing. So that is quite a transition. And so we're going to see kind of how that goes. I actually just ordered a pair of trail shoes to finally run in, because I don't have any because I've just been running on the roads. So it's going to be really interesting to have that transition happen and take place from there. So what are we looking at doing? So my first 50 mile, the San Francisco 50, I did 100% of my training on the road and barely locked in any climbing. Well, that race, unbeknownst to me and wasn't really paying attention a whole lot, was 50 miles and just under 10,000 feet of climbing. So I got absolutely rocked by the climbing. I am more prepared now than I was for that race. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this transition happens over time. I am going to be putting in a lot more hills. I'm going to be putting in a lot more trail work over the next couple weeks and see what happens. So as far as when am I going to do it, that is going to be up to the good old coronavirus. So I'm looking late April, but having the ability to stretch it out into early May, depending on what happens, being safe and trying to figure out when is the right time to do this, as far as making sure there's social distancing and all of that stuff. So it's kind of crazy, but we're going to see what happens from there. So this is no longer 26.2 to 100, but I'll be doing sporadic updates on the transition from road to trail and seeing how that translates. And I think that'll actually be pretty interesting. I know there's a lot of people running roads that transition into trail ultras, so I think that that's going to be an interesting transition for me. We've seen a couple ultra guys, Jim Walmsley, do that this year, going from the trails to the Olympic trials, and running a very respectable 2:15, I believe is what he was, and he ran a 1:04 half. So I'm not Jim Walmsley, but we'll see what I can do. Maybe I can come close to his 5 hours and 55-minute rim to rim time. Doubt it, but we'll see what I can do. So we'll see what that transition looks like. Other than that, take care, be safe, wash your hands, and keep training so you don't go crazy like I feel like I'm going sometimes. Have a great week.